Alrighty, everyone. In this video, we're going to discuss the hybrid program. One of VisiPay's three main programs that we offer here is VisiPay's surcharge program that is compliant in 48 out of 50 states. And in this presentation, we are going to introduce what surcharging is, how the hybrid program works, and how a merchant can make sure they're following all the rules and guidelines to be compliant with the hybrid program. So let's go ahead and dive in. Starting off, what is a surcharge? A surcharge is a fee imposed upon the customer during a credit card transaction that covers the cost to accept the payment method. The POS system or point of sale system or terminal automatically detects when a customer is paying with a credit card and imposes a surcharge on that transaction. So it's important to know that surcharging is only legal when applied to credit card transactions. Merchants are not able to apply a surcharge to a debit card because that is viewed in a way as a cash transaction. So note again, surcharging is only able to be done on credit card transactions. It cannot be done on debit cards. And now that you know what surcharging is, let's get into a breakdown of how VisiPay's hybrid program works. Because like I said, the hybrid program is VisiPay's surcharge program. So how does it work? Well, the customer would be responsible for a 3% credit card fee on credit card transactions to cover the processing fees. The terminal automates the credit card fee. So that terminal would automatically recognize that a credit card is being utilized, and then it would apply that fee to it of 3%. Now, the merchant would then be responsible for any swiped debit transactions at the cost of averaging 1.5% and 25 cents per transaction. There would be no credit card fee added because, again, this is a debit card and you are not able to surcharge a debit card. So that is why that merchant is going to be responsible for the debit card fees. As it states there, there's a $25 monthly fee. That is our subscription cost. So VisiPay runs on a subscription style model in the sense of there's no long-term contract. So nobody's locked into anything. They would just pay a month-to-month subscription cost to utilize the program, similar to that of like a Netflix or a Hulu, any of your subscription style service that you are signed up for. It's the same style. So they would just pay a $25 a month fee. If they don't want to process with us anymore, there's no cancellation fee or early termination fee or anything like that. Okay. It is not compliant in Massachusetts and Connecticut. So like I stated, the hybrid program is legal in 48 out of 50 states. That is because surcharging in itself is only legal in 48 out of 50 states. And the two states that have not jumped on board with surcharging are Massachusetts and Connecticut. So if you are located in those two states, unfortunately, you would not be able to offer this program, but don't worry, we have plenty of other programs. Again, we're not one size fits all. And then the third thing there, we isolate that credit card fee so the merchant only receives their net deposit. So we utilize the same technology in the hybrid program that we use in the cash discount program, which is that isolation proprietary technology. So for example, if there's a $10 transaction for a credit card transaction, we would add on that 3% credit card fee for a total of $10.30. We would isolate out that 30 cents to pay the fees, and then the merchant would receive their full deposit of $10 that they're wanting to make. So again, just makes that process a lot easier. So now that you know how the hybrid program works, what would be the benefit for merchants to sign up for a program like the hybrid program? Well, first off, merchants can see a savings of around 30 to 40% over traditional forms of processing. Again, traditional interchange, you're having to worry about the card's cost of acceptance, so the card brand and the card issuer's cost of acceptance, plus typically a processing fee. With this one, you're not having to worry about that for all types of transactions, right? That 30 to 40% would apply to any sort of credit card fees, and then that merchant would only be responsible for the debit card fees. Customers cover their own credit card fees there. Like I mentioned, merchants who accept a lot of credit cards can see a significant amount of savings with this one. There are no annual fees or product leasing required. Again, we don't have any sort of long-term contracts, long-term leases, anything like that. We're very, very simple to utilize and jump on board with. And then again, if they're not happy for some reason, they do have the option to leave. A lot of times we don't see that because we do step up to the plate, but we're not going to lock them in order to be with us. We want them to feel like they have the freedom to stay if they're happy and the freedom to leave if they're not. So that's why we try and do a very good job at supporting our merchants, because we don't have those things to just lock them in. And then it is compatible with our equipment placement. So they would be able to be placed with a terminal at no upfront cost if they so choose. Some merchants choose to buy terminals, some choose to buy a POS, but if they're looking for that simple solution, we would get them signed up with something at no upfront cost. So knowing what those benefits are, next we'll take a look at what a merchant has to do in order to be seen as compliant by these card brands, because like I mentioned, it's only legal in 48 out of 50 states, so there are some rules around this. So here we have some signage. So the one on the left there, that just is going to go into every point of entry and point of exit, as well as every point of transaction. And then it is required to be on every receipt too, a breakdown that customers are being surcharged for credit transactions. And then, of course, there wouldn't be one for any debit or cash transactions. I will give the example, if you're working with a restaurant that accepts payment at every table, so maybe like a mobile option, they would be required to have this signage at every table then. And that can get really tricky. So knowing that the hybrid program and surcharging requires a lot of rules to be compliant, like I said, every sign at every point of entry and exit, every point of transaction, and on the receipts, this program really would fit a merchant that is really focused and on their stuff, right? You want a merchant that isn't gonna fall behind or lose a sign or maybe not print something off or have certain things displayed, right? Merchants that are on their stuff, are very tentative to their business, this would work really well for, because that they won't run into any of those compliancy issues. Let's take a look at how you should leverage this towards your merchants. So some selling tips. So VisiPay suggests that you approach your prospects with an initial singular focus on selling a cash discount program, but be prepared to pivot to our secondary program, the hybrid program. Cash discount will always be the main program to focus on. It's a top saver for merchants and the most profitable for you as an agent, but we have multiple programs because we know merchants are different. Every merchant has different needs, has different processes, right? So the hybrid is a great pivot from CDP, the cash discount program. Selling tips, second bullet there, businesses with a large number of items and SKUs, this would be an ideal solution for. So retail stores, business to business, liquor stores, grocery stores. Again, it kind of, with the cash discount program, it's not ideal to get those types of businesses set up with the cash discount program because a large number of SKUs, it's a large amount of labor for them to change every displayed price. With this one, it's the terminal or the POS that's recognizing that credit card is being used, then would imply that extra cost to the customer. Of course, they have to follow all the compliancy with the signage and things like that. And of course, if for some reason a merchant isn't, or a customer isn't wanting to be surcharged, then they can pay with cash or debit card. So large number of SKUs, this is a great pivot towards a great second option because it's going to allow that merchant to not take on all of their fees and put some of those fees onto the customer, specifically the credit card fees. It's important for you guys to get ahead of these objections. So discuss common objections right away is going to allow them to process that. It's also going to allow you to utilize the information you have in your repertoire to really kind of calm the nervousness or the uncertainty of it. So it's really important to get ahead of those objections. The most common is, bring an uptick at the register. Why is it fair? Can they pay with debit or credit and not have to get those fees? Things like that. So keep all of that stuff in mind. Again, bring it up ahead of time. Let them know that we really haven't ran into this as much as you think. 3% typically doesn't affect buying behavior. So it's because it's just cents on the dollar, can let them know that they can avoid it entirely. Customers can avoid it entirely if they pay with cash or debit cards. And then think about businesses that you've also seen that utilize a surcharging style program and let them know how it's worked for them, you as a customer, what your experience was like, and things like that. And also, you can let them know that it really is an option to share that burden between the merchant and the customer. It can be a lot for a merchant to have to pay these fees, especially with high fee cards. So this is really one of those solutions next to the cash discount program that can offset that a little bit and ease that burden for them. And then the last bullet, obtain a statement to show savings via a proposal. So that proposal, if you guys haven't heard of that before, is a side-by-side comparison of what they're currently processing with what they could be paying for and processing with VisiPay. So they're going to see what traditionally what that would look like. And then the hybrid program is going to be an option up there too. It's also going to show the cash discount program. So it's going to show that the numbers are a right fit. It's a good fit for them, not only because of the ease of use, but also because of the amount of savings they'll get. How I like to really break down the programs is that, you're going to have your traditional style of program. We'll get into that actually in the next slide here. So with the cash discount program, the customer is covering all of those fees, which offers that 100% savings. You have your hybrid program that's that 30 to 40% savings, and that really varies. Again, it depends on the merchant, what types of payments they're accepting. If it's high credit card, that's where you're going to see that higher end of savings. If it's really not a lot of credit cards, you may find that the hybrid program is not the best fit because you're still paying for those debit card transactions. Okay. You would be paying typically around the, interchange price and things like that with our model, but it still might not be as much savings as you would get with a cash discount program. So keep that in mind. And then the traditional is, again, the traditional way of paying for processing. Merchants are covering all of those fees. Our goal is to save them anywhere from 8 to 10%. So that proposal is going to break all that stuff down for them. And they're going to see that side-by-side comparison and the potential. So it's important to know how to read those proposals, of course, but also understand the difference between each of the programs so you can really highlight how that savings comes into effect. So that is everything in regards to the hybrid program that you would need to know. If you're looking for further information about all of the things hybrid related or surcharging, you can go to our website, or of course you can go further into your CRM, find some more documents and presentations there that are going to help you out. If you have any further questions or just have questions in general, don't hesitate to reach out to your sales support team. You can always email them at sales@visipay.com or give them a call at that number 515-393-2778. They're going to be more than happy to help. But hopefully you guys are able to step away with this, understand that surcharging and the hybrid program a little bit more. You're going to be a little bit more confident on offering it up to the merchants out there in the field.